What's up, you guys? This is Asia here to remind you that if you like this podcast, please be sure to hit subscribe and leave us a rating or a review. We appreciate y'all and hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome back, everybody. Done with Adulting Podcast.
The most stressful week of your life, probably.
Yes, we're recording this on a Friday of last week when you hear this. So, most stressful week of our lives. By the time this comes out on Monday, hopefully we'll have a president.
You still don't have a president.
Currently, as we're recording, we don't have a president, but hopefully
on Monday,
when this comes
out. On Monday, you won't have a president either.
This is a full. Okay, that's funny. We're going to be able to obviously see if you're right or not. No, but we won't. Doesn't polling? This is a stupid ass question. Does polling counters work on the weekends, or is it like government Monday through Friday?
Yes, I think that poll workers are going to be working through the weekend. There's some states that literally allow people to drop votes off on Friday until like 5 p.m. was the deadline. So those have to get counted. So we shall see. I think it's going to go to, and even if they announce a winner, you already know he's already talking about suing states and going to court. So it's going to be a while until it's actually official. But we know who the winner is at this point.
We know who the winner is, I guess. Yeah. I mean, yes, based on where we're at.
But then again, you never know. You never know what could happen.
You never know. That's what I'm saying. It's like, hey, cool. Like, yeah, we're doing okay right now. But like literally this is 2020. So everybody stay one step ahead. Don't get too comfortable. Don't get too happy.
Yeah, don't go dancing in the streets already.
And as you like to say, Jared, even if our preferred candidate wins, two wings of the same bird. So we're basically back to the drawing board about what's next after that.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet. It was like, well, at least the next 4 years, we'll just experience the regular racism. not the. I don't know exactly what racism they were talking about, but
overt or whatever. Yo, that is what I was gonna say. Is like the literal only thing I learned from this election, which I knew subconsciously, obviously, that the psychology of racism in America is so deep that like this man was going to get votes. Like I knew it was going to be, I thought he was going to win. I still think he could win. I don't know what's going to happen, but the point is, it was just it became such a reality when you started seeing the numbers tick, 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 because you were like kind of thinking to yourself, like, you know what? Maybe America will just like prove me wrong this one time.
Yeah, people thought it would be a blowout. That man got more votes than he did the last election. And at one point, he was winning the popular vote. I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah, it's like, wow, literally exactly like the race is so close. Like you could say like literally 50% of Americans do not give a single fuck about other Americans.
No, or like that's what
basic human rights or anybody who is not a white person.
I mean, that's what happens when you live in a capitalistic society. I mean, people are just focused on one certain thing. They're not focused on other topics in life. You know what I mean? They're focused on making as much money as possible, increasing their bottom line. That's what it's about. I'm going to make a statement here, and I'm going to stand on it. If Biden wins, Kamala Harris will be the first female president.
Why, you think he's going to die?
There's no way he's lasting. I don't think he's going to last 4 years. I definitely don't think he's lasting 8 years if they win re-election. But I could see
he's that close to his death.
I mean, not death, but I mean, if he starts
unable to,
if he's unable to lead and like his mental capacity starts deteriorating, I could definitely see them making that switch. And I think she'll be the first. She definitely would be the first female president.
Wow. Literally,
He's
I
not making eight
obviously,
years. He's like 78. Isn't he 78?
that's probably not that far off. And I'm like, I mean, Kamala's not a perfect human being, no one is, but shout out to Howard University because she's an alumni of there and so am I. So I have to get lit for Howard. I've actually meant to go online and buy some gear so I can rep Kamala every day of my life.
Some Garrett. What do they have? What are they selling?
No, just like Howard stuff, like
Oh, I
Howard
got you.
stuff, sweatshirts. I only have like two remaining from my time there. I lost it or
You coach
whatever.
basketball. Like, did they not give you free gear?
I do. I have like sweatpants and shit, but they're like sweatpants. Like I want new shit, and they're old. That was like 5 years ago.
Yeah. I've been out of school since how
Six
long?
years ago. That was 6 years ago.
I'm still wearing Stonehill stuff that I got in school to the gym.
One thing I wanted to bring up about the election though was like, did you stay up? Like, how late did you stay up on Tuesday?
I think to like 1 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, same. Well, maybe it
I
was
mean, I
like
knew that we weren't
12:30.
going to find out, but
Yeah, yeah. But you were just it was like Sports Center for elections.
yeah,
Were you
and
switching
then
back and forth from channels? Because I was. I was
well,
going
yeah,
to
because
every
yeah, I
news
was going
channel.
to CNN. I was even going to Fox News because I was like,
Me
just.
too.
I
We
mean,
were going to Fox too.
I'm still going to Fox News even till today. 'Cause I'm trying to see what they're saying, like if they're salty, things like that. But yeah, I've been bouncing around station to station.
So I feel like last week or even on election day, like I knew that I was probably going to be in front of the TV a lot and looking at my phone a lot. And I was really like, I don't know. I'm really nervous about what all this screen time is doing to us. But, anyways, I told you I cleared my work calendar from any Zoom meetings because I didn't want to be on Zoom all day and then be watching TV till 1 in the morning and then be back on Zoom at 8 in the morning.
So that was you did that Tuesday or you did that Wednesday?
I basically did it I did it Tuesday. I had nothing on my calendar on Tuesday and it was the best except for one thing that I couldn't move. And then on Wednesday I did it in the morning and then I only took like two meetings in the afternoon and then Thursday I tried to block it but then it was
I
just a
think we
lost
spoke about
cause.
this on a previous episode, but like companies, they need to be cognizant of like what's happening in the world and they need to be aware for their employees.
Yeah.
So
And
they like if you have for some companies, for some people, like they had a whole full workday the next day and they're probably still stressing, they're probably still anxious because there hasn't been a declared winner yet. So I know for
yeah,
my company at least, I had meetings, but like they canceled them the next day. And I was like, oh, that's so
they
dope.
did.
Yeah,
Wow,
I had
that's
like
dope.
two or three meetings that I needed to be on, and
And
the
they canceled them
organizers
all.
canceled them. And then the one meeting that I still had, it wasn't really that important that I attend. So I was like, I told my team, I was like, you guys handle it. I'm not hopping on that.
I like I had definitely planned ahead because I knew I wasn't going to be want to be on Zoom. Also, like I didn't know if we were going to know, and I was going to be emotional and whatever. So I was like, nobody needs to see me, even if I have to go on. I'm turning the camera off. But
Facts.
we didn't do that. Like I had to go and block my calendar purposely. But I know people whose jobs did that or said like take the morning off or whatever, do what you have to do. And it's so funny because my mom didn't do that. She had like a client meeting at like literally 9 a.m. on Wednesday. And at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, we were not out of the woods by any means as to how Joe was doing at the time. Like I think like one state had changed overnight to blue, but like it was still questionable. And she woke up so crazy and pissed and like anxious. She was like screaming on all of her calls and I was like, "Oh my god, this is why you can't have work calls this week." Like not to mention like Zoom is already played out for me. Do you guys use Zoom or use Teams?
Teams.
Yeah, Microsoft Teams.
No, we either use Google Hangouts or we use Zoom. Actually, so we always, before the pandemic, we always did Google Hangouts. And then once the pandemic hit, they tried to start going towards Zoom. And then obviously in the beginning of the quarantine, people were like hacking it. So they went back to Google Hangouts. And now they flutter between the two.
Mm.
We
Yes,
don't use Microsoft Teams.
we use Zoom, and honestly, I am Sick of it. Do you feel this is my other question I need
I
to
mean, it's
ask
all the
you?
same to me. It's still a video conference, a video
Yeah,
call, a
so
video
a
meeting,
video call.
a virtual
Okay, so
meeting.
this is my question. When we were not in Corona land, did you take like even what because sometimes we had still had phone conferences, right, with people that are not working in close proximity to us. Were those conference calls for you, or were they video calls back then, or just regular conference
They
lines?
were always Google Hangouts
Video.
video. But I mean, you don't have to put your video on. Like my company is cool. Like you don't have to have your video on. You can be, and you
Does
also,
anybody put their video on?
well, yeah, some people might have it on, some people might not. There might be a 5-person meeting and one person can have it on. There could be a 5-person meeting and all 5 people have them on.
That's so awkward when there's only one.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm the only one doing it. I'm like, that's fine. And then sometimes we record our meetings, and when we record our meetings, they encourage people to turn theirs off. Like if you don't want to be recorded, obviously. But yeah, it's very
You're the
lean and
one
lax.
person who has their video on out of the,
I mean,
and
it
sometimes,
depends. It depends.
oh.
Sometimes I'll be looking a mess. I'm like, I'm not trying to have my video on. But back then, like before quarantine, when I was in the office, I usually would always have it on. But yeah, once I
Mm.
started working from home, like at first when we first started working from home, I was like, it was new to me. So I always like, I had to figure out my situation first. So I might have had it off. And then like I went like 3, 4 months without a haircut and I'm looking crazy. So I'm like, I'm not
I
turning
remember that. Those were dark days.
yeah, I'm not turning my camera on. I'm looking crazy. I'm looking a hot mess. And then there might be times like I might do something to my hair, I might fix myself up a little bit and I might have the camera on. But best believe when I got that first cut, that camera was on all the time. That thing was on all the
Honestly,
time.
honestly, I know because you're definitely on Instagram more after your fresh cut than you are in the in
Yeah.
betweens.
You don't have to see the dark days, you know what I mean?
Dead. But my issue is right now with Zoom is, I can't go from Zoom to Zoom. Like at my job, it's like back to back to back. It's like 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12. Like there's no 15-minute buffers or breaks or no shit like that. So sometimes I literally log on at 9 a.m. and the first time I stand up and get off Zoom is like noon.
That doesn't sound healthy.
It ain't.
But no, like the beginning of quarantine, like for some reason, they just started throwing meetings on just to throw meetings on. Like they were kind of like pointless meetings. Like I understand it's like a pandemic. This is our first time going through a pandemic. Some people, some people are stressed and anxious about everything going on. They're not feeling safe. So they started just putting like Zoom meetings on just to have that face to face interaction because we've been home. But after a while, you're like, I'm
I'm
getting
really
tired of
over
these
that.
meetings. Yeah, and if it's not important and I have to be on it, then I don't need to be on it and I don't want to be on it. You're just wasting my time. I could be doing other things that are important.
To me, it's like I didn't see you this much
Yeah, during regular
pre
work.
quarantine. So why do we have to talk this much? And in my specific situation, if I had to do calls pre-quarantine at the office or like when I worked from home like one day a week, they would be a conference line. It wouldn't be a video call. So I guess I'm just wondering like is anybody using conference lines anymore? I think that would be a really great alternative to some of these Zooms where it's like we don't need all that.
Yeah, you're
Just
tired of it.
and it's like, yeah, some companies they let you be lax and have your camera on and off, and like some people should be understanding. Like most people are understanding about it. Obviously, you're an adult; you can do whatever you want. You don't have to have your camera on, but we cannot act like it's not like uncomfortable or like not even uncomfortable, but like if everybody's camera's on and you're the one who's off, even if your company's like, oh no, it's okay, you still feel some type of way. Like
Yeah, because even if I'm the only one with my camera off, I'm like, oh, maybe I should turn it on. And then I talk to myself, I'm like, F these people. I'm not turning my camera off. I'm not gonna get shamed into putting my camera on when I don't want to.
And well, at my joint, they'll be like, remember our meeting norms, cameras on if possible. Like at the beginning of the meetings, I'll be like, oh my gosh, not the meeting
It's
norms.
dumb. And like another thing, I think that in the beginning of quarantine, like a lot of people were okay with your situation at first. So for people who still had their kids at home and they were still trying to adjust,
Mhm.
a lot of people were still trying to deal with how to work from home and do the virtual experience. So they might have kids running around, they might be getting bothered, they might be having people show up to their house, ringing their doorbells, and they're having to get up throughout the meeting, and people were okay with that. Now we're like 6, 7 months in. I feel like people are like totally over that now, and they're like, okay, now it has to be back to professionalism or back to professional as possible. But
No,
some
but
people,
there's
it's not
still
realistic.
pressure.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
realistic to some people.
it's not. It's not. I feel like too the other funny thing, this is not a thought of my own because I like seeing I'm a kid person. Like I will think it's hilarious when people's kids come in the camera or like babies come in the camera. I truly think it's hysterical and obviously adorable. But there are some people at my job who are like at the beginning, everyone was showing their babies and stuff, and everyone was like, "Oh!" And then, like around August, they were like, "If I see another damn baby in this camera screen,"
No, I feel
because
them.
it's different if the kid is like running wild and they're just being kids, and you're like, that's the person's situation, versus like when someone purposely gets up to go get their baby to show you in the screen.
I hate that. I hate that when people do that with their pets. I'm like, you're obviously doing this
So
just to
we
get
can
some
see you.
attention. I'm like, bro, nobody cares about your cat. Nobody cares about your dog.
No,
Like, and
something.
yo, I swear, I'll be looking at the Zoom, and you just see this one person just like looking at the camera, looking at themselves, making sure that people can see them, going out of their
It's
way, grabbing their dog, playing with it on the camera, and they're just waiting for somebody to mention it. And I'm like,
oh, nice
don't,
dog,
yeah, I'm like,
cute.
don't give them that attention. Nobody cares about their little dog or cat. Let's have a call. Let's do what we need to do and get off the call, man. Nobody wants to see your dog, your cat.
I think that's the other tough thing though, because I feel like companies are trying to like, get the team building on and like do all that culture stuff in virtual land. And they're like, "Oh, we need to hang out, or we need to do like happy hour, like
Yeah,
at 4 o'clock." And it's
so
like
many
all
happy
we
hours.
want. Yeah, it's like they think that this is what's probably best for us is like getting on a happy hour together, sitting here. But like, really, all we want, like the one thing that would bring us closer, is to like not have to get on another call.
Yes.
Like, just say, like, just tell us to pack up 30 minutes early. That would be something that would bring us together in joy.
Yeah. Then you have some companies, they do like a little coffee hour or coffee break
In the
or a
morning?
coffee chat in the morning. Yeah, like a 15-minute, like,
Yes.
oh, everybody wake up, get your coffee mug. We'll just chit chat like we're in the break room. I'm like, I'm good on that, bro.
I
I went to like one or
cannot.
two of those. I'm like, I'm good on that.
I cannot. I'm like, bruh, it is 8:30. Like, I prefer when I wake up to have at least an hour and a half of, no, not an hour and a
Yeah.
half, an hour of silence. And then I'll start listening to my podcast for the day. But I definitely can't do a coffee hour.
No, F that. Here's a question. So we're definitely not going to be back in the office, or quarantine's not going to be over, or let me say COVID's not going to be over by the time that people usually have their holiday parties. Do you think that companies are going to try to do some sort of virtual holiday party? And if so,
I,
how do you feel about that?
no, mine isn't. And I think they should just send us virtual holiday gift cards to use
Hey,
how
give
we
us the
please.
gifts. Give us the gifts.
I don't want to go to a virtual holiday party. What am I going to do there?
I can imagine some companies doing that. So, listeners, if your company is doing that, or you know of a company that's doing that, let us know in the comments. Because I definitely can imagine some companies like, oh, we can't have a holiday party this year, so let's do something virtual. Blah
No,
blah blah. I could imagine that.
I
Especially if
work
you're a
in
small company.
nonprofit.
If you're a small company, it makes sense maybe. But
The other thing I was going to say that I learned today, which you probably don't care, but somebody else might care, is that is that I never could. You know how when you have back to back meetings and all you want to do is just like take a beat and like maybe just like, use the bathroom.
I was going to say
But you
use the
don't
bathroom, yeah.
but you don't want to come to your next meeting and be like, I have to go to the bathroom, I'll be right back. You can say, somebody taught me this today, you can say, a professional way to say it is, I just need a moment to transition. I'll be back in 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, I could say that. I could say, I'm coming from another meeting. I need 2 minutes to transition. Go pee, run back, boom.
I like that.
That's a good nugget of knowledge there.
It's not a bad idea, especially if you're like running the meeting.
Yeah.
You can give everybody in the meeting those 2 to 5 minutes to do what they need to do, because you don't know if they're coming from back to back meetings as well. So
That's a good practice too.
that's a really good point.
Another nugget of knowledge practice that I use, actually my whole team at work uses it, because we did this mindfulness retreat a couple years ago and we like brought some stuff back or whatever that we learned. Whoever's running the meeting, I'm not even gonna lie, it doesn't happen every meeting, but for most meetings, especially like our bigger team meetings, we do like a minute to arrive. So other than like the minute to transition, which would be like use the bathroom, get your water, get something to do, a minute to arrive is like once everyone's sat down and you're all on your videos or not or whatever and the meeting's about to start. Before you start the meeting, just have like literally 60 seconds on your time it on your phone of just silence and like breathing, because I feel like you go like from one meeting and it could not have been a good meeting and you're like worked up and then you're bringing that energy into the next meeting. So the minute to arrive is just like a minute, 60 seconds of silence to just like sit in your seat and just like take some deep breaths before you start the next whatever stressful thing you're about to talk about in your meeting.
Now, is that done on camera, or can you have your camera off of that?
Great question. I guess personal preference. We usually have ours on just because it's the meeting norms. So, but that's like something that we've done. We did that in person. We did that before COVID.
Mm. So what, you
Which
all
was
would just be
awkward.
sitting in the room, just quiet, just looking
Breathing.
at, yeah, okay.
It's a mindfulness practice. But it's only 60 seconds, but it does feel like a long minute when you're in a room with
Of
20
course it
people that you
does,
don't
yeah.
know. But that's not the point. You're supposed to like breathe. So, anyways, that was my other tip. And then the last thing I was going to say, I'm full of nugget knowledge today. I was thinking about this hard because I'm so sick of Zoom. Is I am now blocking my calendar. So I'll block like
Oh, definitely.
30 minutes of, but I was blocking my calendar to like, I was always blocking my calendar to do work. Like,
Oh, okay,
I don't
yeah,
block.
I was about to say,
No, I have to block my calendar to do actual work because
people try to book
people will
meetings,
book me,
yeah.
yeah, from 8 to 4:30. So I've already done that, but I started doing small blocks, like 15-minute blocks, so that it's not enough time for me to like do anything, but it's enough time for me to let the dog out, like whatever, do
Yeah.
that type of shit.
Some people even do that just to check their email. Like they might block 10 to 15 minutes just to,
Yeah, that's
if
true.
they've been in meetings all day, just to try to catch up. Because that's the worst. If you're in meetings all day and you're not able to get to your email, and then by the end of the day, you have 150, 200 emails. It's like, I have to do
I
all the
actually
meetings, and then I have to go through all of these emails to make sure I didn't miss anything important. Like,
I honestly don't. It's so funny because I know that that's a thing, but like I can't let my emails go past 50.
yo,
I
those
never
red,
will.
I hate those red notifications. That just irritates me. It irritates me so much when I see people who have like 50,000
Oh, on their
emails.
iPhones?
Yeah, that, or even in the regular email. Like I've
Oh.
walked past computers before and I see people
Oh
with
yeah.
unread emails that are like in the thousands. And I'm like, bro, how
Why?
can you work like this?
I can't.
How do you know, like, have you went through all those emails? Do you know if they're important? And I don't even, so say if I go through my emails and I can't get to something right now, I would mark that as unread. So I know to go back to it.
Me too.
So I assume that other people do something similar to that. So if you
No, I
do
don't think
that,
people do.
but if you do that and you have 1,000 emails, are there still 1,000 things that you need to get through that you just never got to? And it's like, now it's 3 months later from the original email. I'm just like, I hate seeing that. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I think For me, I'm definitely over video calls. So that was the other thing I was going to say. I'm going to start switching my meetings back to conference lines. The reason I keep bringing this up is because I understand you can turn your video off and it's fine, but like there's still a stigma around off videos. No matter what the company says, no matter what your coworkers say, even if we all are in the same boat and we all understand, there's still a stigma about having your video off.
That
So
that's true, and I do not like that, and I think that we should normalize turning your video off.
we should normalize conference line. Remember that free conference line, whatever that freaking website is? It
There's
is.
times when I don't want to see your face. I'm sorry.
Yes, let's take it back. We gotta tap into like I feel like people forget there were ways that people had meetings before videos. It's
Yeah.
okay.
And the
Like
scary thing
y'all
is,
know
like,
my whole stuff now.
and the scary thing is, like, it seems like we're going to be with COVID for a good
Ever.
amount of months left. So we're still going to be working from home, and we're still going to have to be doing the virtual experience. And unfortunately, it just seems like we're going to be in this for a good amount of time. So the same
It's too
issues still going
much.
to be happening. Zoom calls, Zoom calls, Zoom calls.
That's why I'm not doing Zoom calls no more. I'm doing conference line calls. But I need to ask you about something because by the time this episode comes out, the reel of getting ready to record will be released. And I need you to tell me what is good. Why do you have a machete on your dining room table?
So I inherited the machete, and I just haven't found a place to put it yet. So I had threw a bunch of stuff just on the table, and as I've been, I guess, putting stuff away, I just haven't touched that yet. So it's just left on the table, and I know Emily hates seeing it, but I don't know
You
where I want it
inherited
yet.
a machete.
I just haven't found a place to put it yet.
Is it could you is it like primed and ready for use if you needed it to be? Like is it sharp? Oh shoot.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you can like just cut plants and trees with it. You never know. I mean, you got it's 2020. People are like,
Jared,
trying to start civil wars. You know what I mean? You got to be ready.
if I ever saw you wielding a machete, like seriously about to attack somebody,
Well, I would never do that unless provoked.
no,
Hopefully,
that's what I'm saying. If you were trying to defend yourself, oh my god. You have you're ready to go. If there actually is a civil war from this election, I'm coming over to your house.
yeah. We're locked and loaded over here. So
Save
I got,
room
I got,
for
I
the
got, I got,
Watsons, okay?
yeah,
Because
I got multiple bedrooms. If the apocalypse ever happened, if the zombie apocalypse ever happened, I mean, we're ready over here.
honestly, want to just I'm here to say normalize no video zooms, turn
Facts.
off the news because it could be a while before we have a president.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, you should. If your company doesn't give you the holiday or they don't give you time off for election day, you should start something in your company, something small. Maybe start speaking to other employees. Try to make not a resistance, but try to bring it or make a point that you should have off for election day. And obviously, as we see now, maybe the next election it could be the same thing as this election. They might not
hmm
be able to have a winner the night of. You should normalize no meetings the following day. Like elections are heavy on people.
Yeah.
Like as we've all noticed this week, a lot of people have been scared. A lot of people have been stressed out. A lot of people have had anxiety, and
No
it
sleep.
plays. Yeah, no sleep. Like even Tuesday night, like I told you the last episode, I didn't have any anxiety or any fear of anything happening. But even when I went to bed, I barely could sleep that night.
Because
Comes
you were
like,
so stimulated, like, yo, what the fuck?
yeah, I'm like, wait, like, what's going on? I'm like, is he really going to win again? And then I'm like, wait, what if Biden actually has a comeback? Like people are saying, blah, like your mind's just going crazy. So even if you're not really
Yeah,
that invested into it, you still have some feelings towards it, and
exactly.
And some people are super invested into this, and it plays a heavy toll on some people's mentals. So I think companies should be aware of that, and they should start giving some time off for their employees.
Yeah. Also, you don't, even though I know it's like everything that we're doing and watching is like election, politics, whatever, you don't have to. I said this on the last episode, but I'm saying it again because it happened to me today and it pissed me off. You don't have to talk about the elections in every single conversation that you're having. Like,
Facts.
make it a point. Like, I mean, people now are just using the election as like bubbler talk, like small talk, like, oh, what did you think? What do I think? I think that we're in a fucked up situation and the country is really fucked up. And I don't necessarily want to talk about it. I hear about it 24/7. Why don't you ask me a different question?
Yeah, and I could just tell, like I know some of these people, and I know that they're either Trump supporters or they're definitely on that line. And I could just tell that they're just being like fake happy and like it doesn't matter who we vote for, we all still can get things done, blah 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 blah. And I'm just like they're just like fake bubbly, and I'm just like, oh my god, like why are you acting like this? And they're doing it because it's election week, and they know the elephant in the room, and they're just trying to give fake energy towards the crowd and the group. And I'm just like, that's not needed. We can just have this meeting, get what we need to
We don't have
do.
to talk about it.
Yeah, get done what we need to do and move on. We don't need to bring it up.
I will say that very impressed and think it's hilarious all the TikToks and reels of that people are making of like waiting for the results or like states counting votes. Honestly, they crack me up.
Like
So
the Brian McKnight one. I'm getting tired of seeing that one. I'm like, okay, we get it.
that reel had me on the floor.
This whole process has been kind of comical, depending on what side you fall on. But it's like, come on.
At the end of the day, someone's going to have to be president, so we can count on that. We can count on the fact that at the end of the day, whoever doesn't get picked, their supporters are going to be very upset. We can count on that. And we can count on the fact that no matter who gets picked, we still got work to do, people. So it's fine.
Facts.
Everything is fine. There will be a president. There will likely be civil unrest for an unknown amount of time. And there's still work to be done no matter who wins. So if we can just remember those three things, we can just coast through the rest of this waiting period, see what the Cheeto does after he loses and makes a big hullabaloo about it. Probably have to drag him out of the White House by his ankles, but at the end of the day, it's fine.
We will be okay. End of the day.
It'll be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. That is all we have. Keeping it short because I'm sick of video, and Jared and I are on video right now, and my eyes are melting. So yeah, if you guys like this episode and this podcast, go ahead and click subscribe, give us a rating, and give us a review.
Yes, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Done with Adulting Pod. Also, we're on Twitter, Done WTH Adulting. Make sure you share our post, like them, hit us up in the comments, hit us up in the DMs, just interact with us.
Yes, and merch update. There is not one except for the fact that things are almost sold out. So if you haven't gotten any, go to donewithadulting.com and get your merch before it sells out. If you have purchased merch, give us a couple weeks and we'll have that in your hands. And stay tuned to our Instagram page for some more giveaways.
Shout out to everybody who rocked with us for that second round of merch. That John went fast. I had people hitting me up like, yo, it's sold out already. I'm like, yeah, sorry. You were kind of slow on the ball. You know what I mean?
Told y'all to hop on. Deck is left. Done with Racism is left.
Get your merch.
All right. We are out. We will talk to you guys next week.